Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Hey, Donna, you're here. I said you could watch from the bushes, honey, which means like you don't have to be on mod duty. Having a fantastic day. Hello, Lola. I emailed Betty. She had a great question about the evidence you sent me. I'm going up backwards here. I'll say hi from the bottom up. um, Can you tell me, because I wanted to get Betty's input on, um, hang on. Can you hear me? Jeez, can you hear me? You stupid headset. Um, I wanted to get Betty's input on the evidence because the stuff that you sent me, Lola, that we all watched on the letter that Rebecca dropped, and they never called us back. And I'm wondering if I wanted to hear her input. And she said, of course, well, do you have any evidence that it was sent to her as well? But she didn't do anything with it because she wanted to know how we got to the video, from the video to the pictures, which makes sense, right? Which was also what the police asked me. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not excusing the police's behavior at all. In fact, it's getting worse by the minute, which we're going to talk about again today. But I'm just curious where you got the pieces of paper from because I think it's the same pieces of paper. But we want to make sure. And so I'm just curious if you know. Welcome in. I'm going to go back to the top now. Welcome in, Marie Curie. Hope y'all are doing the YouTube things, the likes. I appreciate y'all for being here. And welcome in, Margie. Yes, big thanks to all of our beautiful mods. Deanna, welcome in, sweetie. Watching from the bus. I hope you're feeling better, Donna. There's a lot of people not feeling well. It's wild. Margie, I took a long hike with Ryder. Well, he took me for the walk, so I am like sore. I just got home, took a bath, and quickly ate and jumped on. It's like watching from the bushes. Just ate today, but hit the like, the share, subscribe, and join. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, so oh, but I'm really enjoying hiking. Long hikes in the bush where I need to get my phone out because the trail goes from being quite public to, lots of arteries that are like less traveled and you have no idea and it gets pretty narrow where you're at. It's fun. And creeks and anyways, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yes, everybody, please do the likies. Please do the likies. Let's see. Anybody else? Hello, Krista, my dear. How are you? I wonder how Chris is doing. I hope she hasn't been here in a while. Beverly comes in. It seems only for Sebastian, so I was surprised she didn't see her last night. But and Hope hasn't been here in a little bit either. So hope everybody is doing well. Oh, thank you, Lola, for doing that. By the way, thank you. Not going as planned. Oh yeah, I get those days a lot. I get those a lot. Oh, they were in the video. Okay. Yeah, so hello, Midnight Ministry. Um, Lost 2.5 pounds from yesterday. Oh no, Donna, you're that sick? Ooh, that's not good, honey. Yeah, if you can, that would be great. Thank you, Lola. Um, yes, awesome trails. Do you have awesome trails near your place too, Krista? I love nature hiking. When I started in business and then I moved to human rights and not human rights, I'm thinking of my daughter all of a sudden, to human kinetics and a minor in nutrition. And a lot of people went into to become fitness teachers, like phys ed teachers, and um, I used to love when we did orienteering, which was like you'd have a compass and directionals and no trails in the middle of the bush, and you'd have to get your coordinates in the bush and get to a certain target area, and there was archery involved and running. and obstacle courses in the bush, and I loved it so much. I'd love one of those, deep in the bush woods games, Okay, let's get into the show tonight, y'all, because we got some news. We got some news. We talked about how, okay, well, let me just go backwards. You know how yours truly went off with the police, off on the police, if you will, and the DA. Were any of you here with me when we watched the Rust trial together? Because I just kind of learned something about myself. I don't like losing my cool like that. Like I know some of you guys like listening to it. I just don't. But I I've reflected on it, and it's like a visceral reaction for me when I know there's bullshit going on. Yeah, Krista, so kinda. I got the beach near me and many parks by me. Yes, I go private to the 4-lane road. Yes, so that's nice. Perfect, Donna. Feel better. Well, no worries. No worries, my dear. You feel better. Um, anyways, it's like when we were watching the Rust trial with Alec Baldwin, I just knew those prosecutors and the cops were colluding together. I privatized those because we watch those trials live, just because nobody here really seems to want to watch live trials, but other than a few people were with me. Um, but I knew they were lying, and sure enough, on day 3, I mean, they got caught lying. They had to dismiss the like they. I mean, it was just insane. Um, it was just insane. Anyways, so I had this visceral reaction to this prosecuting district attorney and the cop, and now it's coming out. Well, they don't really have the best reputation, I would say, or not necessarily. Well, you guys brought it to light that the sheriff has a somewhat dishonorable reputation, but we're going to watch a clip if you haven't seen it already, where, they were playing the blame game. They were playing the blame game, and it really wasn't fair or accurate. So we're going to go through all of this updated stuff on the Emmanuel Harrow case again today. And then I'm going to see if I can get to Jack and Lily tomorrow. I really want to get to Jack and Lily tomorrow. And if you didn't come for last night's live on Sebastian Rogers, I'd suggest you go back and watch that. Anybody here that watched last night, and was it interesting? Was it, if you want to put that in the chat, that's greatly appreciated. So this was released by Channel News 3 or Channel 3 News yesterday at 4:22 p.m. So, 24 hours ago. Riverside County prosecutors today asked for the public's patience until there's further disclosure of details regarding a 7-month-old Cabazon toddler believed killed by his parents, saying the rush to judgment has led to a significant amount of misinformation circulating via social media and other channels. Please know that we are committed to providing accurate information according to a district attorney statement released Friday afternoon. Please understand we are bound by legal and ethical responsibilities that prevent us from sharing detailed case information publicly. The agency's statement came 2 days after the formal news briefing regarding the case of baby Emmanuel Harrow. His parents, 32-year-old Jake Mitchell Harrow and 41-year-old Rebecca Renee Harrow, have been charged with first-degree murder in connection with the disappearance. So they made their initial joint court appearance Tuesday and are due back in court on September 4th for formal arraignment. Ahead of, during, and after this week's news conference, speculation regarding how the toddler died, where his remains might have been dumped, or even unconfirmed sightings of him alive have persisted. We understand how deeply the community and the media care about baby Emmanuel, and are eager for information, the DA's office stated. However, there has been a significant amount of misinformation circulating in the media and on social media, which can be confusing and frustrating for everybody. We ask for your patience and to trust the facts will be shared through appropriate official updates in due time through mainstream media, through the media who do what they're told. The office said, spreading false information or rushing to conclusions can unintentionally hinder the investigation and impact court proceedings. DA Mike Hestrom said Wednesday it was the result of being abused over time that caused the baby's death. We believe Emmanuel was severely abused, and because of that, the abuse, he succumbed to those injuries, he said. The victim's body has yet to be located, but Hestrom noted that the investigators have a pretty strong indication of where the remains of the baby are. The search is ongoing. I don't know. We haven't seen anybody come forward with, sightings of them searching. Yeah, I know. All I'm trying, Lola, to go back to, I'm trying to go back to that. But you know, I having a hard time. I don't know how the other creators, it's a lot of work behind the scenes. It's a lot of, yeah, it's a lot more work than people think. And I don't know how the creators do it that do multiple cases because I'd like to keep covering these three cases, but it's hard to do, you know. Okay. Each defendant is being held without bail. Jake Harrow at the Smith Correctional Facility in Banning and his wife at the Robert Presley Jail in Riverside. There were inconsistencies in Rebecca's statement. San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dickus told reporters, explaining why no statewide Amber Alert was issued when Emmanuel was first reported missing. There was forensic data from the crime scene, he said. That's how we learned the jurisdiction where this crime occurred, Riverside County. Forensically, there were a number of things we were able to prove up. He did not disclose specifics, saying while no one can pinpoint where the Tots remains are now, there's some level of cooperation from the defendants. Hestrom said the Tots death was preventable, blaming a failure in the criminal justice system that enabled Jake Harrow to remain free on probation after pleading guilty in a prior child abuse case involving his ex-wife and another informant, Carolina. In that case, Harrow admitted a child cruelty charge in 2023, but made his plea directly to the court, avoiding negotiations with prosecutors. Hestrom said the prosecution wanted prison for the defendant's extensive abuse of the girl, which resulted in multiple broken ribs, a fractured skull, and a brain hemorrhage. The 2018 damage left her permanently bedridden, he said. The judge decided Mr. Harrow deserved an extra break and gave him 4 years probation and basically 180 days of work release, which ends up being like community service, the county's top prosecutor said. The judge on assignment from San Bernardino County was not named in the court register online. It was an outrageous error in judgment by the judge, Hestrom said. If that judge had done his job, Emmanuel would be alive today. Well, we will finish reading this, which is basically a recap of the news conference. But it was like I said, my dad was a lawyer. I've worked with lawyers in real estate. I'm passionate about the law. I certainly am not a lawyer and I wouldn't know the law. That is for sure. But it seemed like common sense to me that the judge can only rule on the evidence in front of him. And sure enough, last night, we're going to go watch it in a second, was, I know, honey, I wish that live had way more views because, it's important. But, we had a small crowd last night. And then once the live has a small turnout, it just doesn't perform when it's released nearly as well, regrettably. Oh, and last night, just a side note, how long have you seen me use that intro that I created with the tarot and the pendulum. I mean, I've had that for months and months. I got hit with a copyright on it last night, and I created it from Canva. It's unbelievable. YouTube's copyright, they copyright me on their own copyright free. They let me swear up the wazoo, and which is fine, which is totally against the regulations, and never ever do anything with that, which I'm trying not to do anymore because it's just not cool. But a little swearing here and there, and they do nothing for that. But I can create my own music. I disputed one, and they the guy backed down because I paid for it through Canva Pro and made it myself, which I also did with my intro video, but now I got a copyright. So I was just like, you know what? I don't really love that intro, so I'm not going to fight this one. So I did delete it out of the intro, which is why I didn't play it today. And I'm just going to make my own. Um, but yeah, if you missed last night's live, go and watch it. Yeah, yeah, it's just like I don't know if Canva, if people don't understand when they put their stuff on Canva, that with you pay for the premium pro Canva level to be able to do that stuff, so that you've been licensed to copyright to the music you create. So I don't really know if Canva and YouTube don't talk or what's going on, but it's like it happens to me constantly. And Jen said the same thing happens to her on, and you can go into YouTube's music studio, and I've uploaded, and even the stuff in the members live that I've played. That's why I don't do meditations and prayers anymore, because I was getting stricken. I'd go in, I'd download, and I'd spend like a long time looking for relevant music that was copyright free music that they promote, YouTube promotes, and then they copyright strike me. I'm just like, this is insane. So that's why I don't bother with music anymore. Anyways, onwards and upwards, the YouTube game. So they went on to blame the judge. It was an outrageous error in judgment by this judge, Hestrom said. If the judge had done his job, Emmanuel would be live today. I want you to remember that. Remember that. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department's personnel were examining potential body dump sites along the Monroe Valley 60 freeway in the Badlands at the end of last week without success. Emmanuel was reported missing in the 34,000 block of Yucapa Boulevard in Yucapa on the evening of August 14th. Rebecca Haro told deputies she'd been assaulted while standing near her vehicle, changing Emmanuel's diaper outside a Big Five store. The defendant suggested she was knocked out and that the assailant fled with the tot. On August 18th, San Bernardino County Sheriff's detectives search warrants at the Harrow home with the help of canine units, and a large amount of surveillance video was obtained from the area of interest for review, according to the agency. Jake Harrow was arrested last year in Banning and charged with illegal possession of a loaded firearm as well as probation violations. That case has not yet been resolved. Court documents also revealed that Isabella Rebecca Gonzalez, Harrow's former spouse, filed a domestic violence restraining order against him with a request to protect the child's son, Eli. Rebecca Harrow has no documented prior felony convictions in Riverside County. Now, y'all, I forgot. I have to just also state, I get so many emails from you all. So it's really hard to keep up. It really is. And email is just not my strength, if you will. And I wanted to look into the comment that you all made about um, Rebecca Harrow being in the news for another scam. And I cannot remember where I saw it. So it was in the comments. You got the SS. What does that mean? So it was in the comments. You got the SS of who went back and found the paper. Can you email me, Lola, more details? Because I don't know what that means. And I'll follow up with Betty as well. I don't understand that, sweetie. I'm sorry. A screenshot. Okay. Well, can you send me that too? Can you email me the screenshot of who went back and found the paper? That would be really great if you could email me that, the screenshot too. Yeah, but I mean, I like I said for the intro, I want to create another one anyways. So we're gonna move, not worry about it and move on. But yeah, so then yesterday, y'all, this is a statement they put out, and then I want to. So they put out the full statement here. We understand and deep. Just pull up the full statement. Oops. Whoops. It didn't. It didn't. God, it's so clunky. I gotta try StreamYards. I gotta see if StreamYards is better. The StreamYard, Stream or not StreamYard, Streamlabs. The StreamYard is so clunky. Okay. We understand. So this was posted 21 hours ago, Riverside County District Attorney's Office. We understand how deeply the community and the media care about baby Emmanuel and are eager for information about this case. We share your desire for justice and your desire for transparency. However, there has been a significant amount of misinformation circulating in the media and on social media, which can be confusing for everyone. Please know that we are committed to providing accurate information. Also, please understand that we are bound by legal and ethical responsibilities that prevent us from sharing detailed case information publicly. I don't think anybody's really asking for them to share detailed information. It seems like they think that people want more from them. I don't know. I think people, I mean, I guess I don't know. I would be surprised that people wouldn't know that they can't share information, but I think I don't know what this is in response to. If people, if like again, are they really out of touch? Like people were in response to their ignorance at the press conference. I think that's, I don't understand what this response is. We understand that, like, we don't trust you. Like, I don't know. Maybe am I the only one that doesn't necessarily trust these people to provide the right information? I don't really know. It just feels like there's so much disconnect between this office and maybe there's other things going on. Maybe people in the community are asking for more information, but I mean, anybody that's asking for more information probably doesn't know true crime. So I don't know who that would be, if that makes sense, right? Does that make sense? Like they obviously can't tell us more details. Um, so I just don't know. They seem, I just, it seems to me like who's asking for more details? Is this legit? Like who's literally asking? The responsibilities are in place to avoid making statements that could influence this case, prejudice the fairness of the court proceedings, or impede the goal we all share, justice for baby Emmanuel. We kindly ask for your patience and understanding and trust that the accurate facts will be shared through the appropriate officials' updates in due time. Yes, through the media we've approved, who will say exactly what we tell them to. Spreading false information or rushing to conclusions can unintentionally hinder the investigation, impact the court proceedings, which are essential to receiving justice. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. I'm not sure what conclusions people are jumping to or not. I just, it's just a weird, the timing of it. I would have thought it was, um, I would have thought it would have been more on the, we know we kind of ticked off some people out there. We want to work with you. I don't know. Am I missing something? It just seems tone deaf. It just seems, I don't know what they're experiencing, but I'm not seeing anything on YouTube, anybody asking them for more details. Is anybody else seeing them asking for more details somewhere? Like, are people asking them to come out and make more statements? Oh, she threw what? See, this is where it's really hard to communicate in text because I don't know the keys, not the paper. Like, I don't know what that means. So, can you send me an explanation of that? Thank you. Krista, you're in a funky mood today. I don't know what's going on with you, but you seem like you're in a really funky mood today. Okay, let's go and see this because this is, the visceral reaction that I was feeling. Seems like I was, I was not so off. This News Nation.
Maintaining the couple's innocence in this new jailhouse interview. He denies claims of authorities who say that the baby had been abused by his parents throughout his 7-month-old life. Authorities say the baby then allegedly died of those injuries. Jake claims he's been cooperating with investigators, but Harrow's cooperation is proving as frustrating as his wife's original story to police. Remember, she claimed a stranger assaulted her in a parking lot and then abducted the baby. Jake has assisted in the search for the missing baby boy. You can see him on the screen there in the orange prison jumpsuit out in that dusty terrain. But that search of that field turned up no evidence that the baby was ever there. Authorities now say, however, that they have, quote, a strong indication of where the little boy's body is. Meanwhile, outrage is growing over another case involving Jake Harrow from 2 years ago and another baby of his, a baby girl who authorities say is permanently disabled by Jake's violent acts. Jake pleaded guilty to child abuse in that case, but despite the hideous injuries the 10-week-old baby girl suffered, he never served any time in prison. The district attorney says that if the judge had put him behind bars, baby Emmanuel would still be alive today. Joining us now is Kim Dagonia, former assistant district attorney.
So remember, they blamed it on the judge. Here we go again. The same woman that's been on News Nation with Brian Enton and Ashley Banfield. And now Miss Vargas is talking about this. I love her. She's gotten a little bold lately, I notice. I think it's Elizabeth Vargas. And listen to this woman who used to work with these people. And this is exactly what I said.
Attorney from Riverside County, California. Thanks so much for joining us. So the current DA, Mike Hestrin, had really harsh words for the judge in that previous Jake Harrow case. Hestrin said it was, quote, an outrageous error in judgment and that a baby is now dead because of it.
He did, and I think Sheriff Chabianco said it best when he started the news conference and indicated that there were several opportunities and several people to blame for why baby Harrow is no longer with us and why Jake Harrow is not in custody. The reality is that had the Riverside County District Attorney's Office charged that actual complaint properly, we wouldn't be here. Jake would not have been able to even conceive Emmanuel Haro because he did not charge what is the most basic charge, which is the assault with a child under the age of 8 causing paralysis.
Yeah, he was charged with child cruelty. I mean, we've got the current DA blaming the judge in the case, and you're saying actually it was the former DA's mistake?
Correct. If the former DA would have filed the charges correctly, that would have tied the judge's hands. He would have been unable to sentence Jake Harrow to probation. He would have had to have sentenced Jake Harrow to life with the possibility of parole. The judge would not have been able to sentence him to probation. The charges were simply pled improperly. They were too low.
So what about what Jake Harrow was?
Okay, so I wasn't wrong. When I lost my shit and I said, well, the judge can only friggin' yes, exactly, Marie Curie. This is my point. Like, I cannot believe, Krista, I agree with you. First of all, let me just address your comment. I agree with you. This is why I don't understand this DA's release we just read. Like, I don't know. You guys are on the YouTube streets and true crime, most of you, like all day or a good part of your day, I'm guessing, as am I. And I don't see anybody complaining that they want more information. I think people are complaining because they don't trust them. And they're complaining because they asked everybody to shut down, and that's what people are pissed about. I don't see anybody asking for more information. Anybody in the true crime community, unless it's the mainstream media, anybody in the true crime community, this keyboard warrior YouTubers, we know better that they're not going to give us any more information. We know they're not going to compromise. But yeah, this is very important. This is what I was telling you. It's like a visceral reaction for you. I just lose my shit when I smell bullshit. It's like my body goes into what the fuck? Like My body just, it's like I know there's bullshit on the screen. Like I can, it's like my body reacts viscerally. And so that was the point. I just knew in my gut that this was bullshit, that they were blaming the judge, not having researched it, having no evidence. I just fucking knew. It just made sense to me. The judge can only fucking rule on what you presented to him. And I was actually going to talk about that the other day, and I had gone into research chat GTP, and chat said same thing, bullshit, bullshit. He can't have gone down this way. And no offense to Lauren Matthias, I love her on Hidden True Crime, and she's got a massive channel, 400 and some thousand, I think. And I love her, and she considers herself a journalist. But I didn't play. I doubted my second guess myself and didn't even play the chat research I'd done. I told you at 1:30 in the morning because Lauren said, well, he pled in court, and I thought, assuming she's a journalist, quote unquote, that, and she's so credible that she knew better than me because she covers trials all the time. We don't really cover trials here. I just love trials. So I second guessed myself, but I was right. I was fucking right. I knew I was right. Chat said, GTP said it. This woman used to work with them and she's saying it. And she was there with the other prosecutor before Slickback was there. Yes, how suspicious is that? They charged a lighter charge. Yeah, what a great mistake, you know? Yeah, so I just don't fucking like these people, and I don't fucking trust them now. And I'm kind of pissed off now that everybody seems to be, the case seems to be cooling off. Yeah, like my body reacted viscerally, you know? There was just, I knew it was bullshit. I knew it was bullshit. So let's listen to this again. So this gaslighting the public and blaming it on the judge is fucking, like, it's ridiculous, you jackasses. It's fucking ridiculous. And I hope every single person that's been covering this on the YouTube knows. And for Al, I keep calling him Al Latira. It's on the Latira. I hope like hell he's consulted with a lawyer and knows his rights, because to be told his entire livelihood, like he's got 200,000 subscribers, I think, on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. And to be told he can't cover a case when he's been the main face of it, I think is bullshit. And I hope he's consulted an attorney, because it's actually not even, I don't think it's even legal what they're telling him. Like, you know, we was listening to Bullhorn Betty this morning's live, and she was talking about what happened to her with Sebastian, and it's happening to him, where they're telling him you can't fucking tape. It's, what the fuck kind of country are you in here? This is the United States of America. And I don't see in public places why he can't tape. You know? He's not breaking into people's backyards. He's not going into places that need a search warrant. You know, I think he's on to things. I think they don't want the details getting out because their case is so weak. They don't want Rebecca and Jake, because they have, let's face it, they're not going to be in trial, you know, for a very long time. And they have a long disclosure process before they get there. And I don't know what their thinking is, but somehow they seem like they want to just keep it under wraps. And I don't know if it's because, well, let's put it this way. It's only one of two things. They are either worried. Yeah. Like what kind of bullshit is that, Tamara? What kind of bullshit is that? And now they come out and they say, trust us. We know what we're doing. And they blame it on the judge, and they insult the fucking social media keyboard warriors. They kicked Tierra out on Latira. They were disrespectful to him. They are not to be trusted. It's the exact opposite. And so I hope people get out there and understand, because there's only one of two possibilities going on. They either have information that's being released that they don't want to get out to the public because they are concerned about getting back to Jake and Rebecca, but eventually they're going to have to full disclose. And I would assume they've got to disclose a certain amount in court on September 4th. So that's kind of interesting, unless it was that Brian Ettins guy and they were going to try that Perkins process again, and that they were worried they wouldn't be able to do that. And then Or is it because if they fuck this up again because there's some sort of on the fucking take, like some of you have suggested with this sheriff, and on Latira made that, he's on the grab, or are they gonna let these little effers out again and they just want everybody to turn your eyes away, close your eyes, close your ears, close your mouth, stop asking, because what? Trust us? Yeah, right. So what the hell? Are they so why are they behaving this way? Why are they behaving this way? It's this in itself makes it suspicious to me. Their behavior itself makes it suspect to me, especially after this. Especially after this. So I'm gonna rewind it again.
Actual complaint properly, we wouldn't be. Harrow is not in custody. And several people to blame. Said it best when he started the news conference and indicated that there were several opportunities and several people to blame for why baby Harrow is no longer with us and why Jake Harrow is not in custody. The reality is that had the Riverside County District Attorney's Office charged that actual complaint properly, we wouldn't be here. Jake would not have been able to even conceive Emmanuel Haro because he did not charge what is the most basic charge, which is the assault with a child under the age of 8 causing paralysis.
Yeah, he was charged with child cruelty. I mean, we've got the current DA blaming the judge in the case, and you're saying actually it was the former DA's mistake?
Correct. If the former DA would have filed the charges correctly, that would have tied the judge's hands. He would have been unable to sentence Jake Harrow to probation. He would have had to have sentenced Jake Harrow to life with the possibility of parole. The judge would not have been able to sentence him to probation. The charges were simply pled improperly. They were too low.
So what about what Jake Harrow was saying? It's unbelievable he's giving interviews from jail. Is he admitting that his baby is dead now or not?
I mean, it seems to be that way. He's taken the police on this wild goose chase to an alleged crime scene. That in of itself would suggest that he's admitting the baby is gone. Making these statements now, I think, is further just incriminating him, and people can read between the lines that he is telling us that baby Emmanuel is gone.
Authorities say they have a good idea of where the baby's body is. They believe that he had suffered abuse throughout his 7-month-old life, which is horrific to even think about. What do you think makes them think that? Do they have evidence?
Elizabeth, I'm sure they do. I'm sure Mike Heston is very detailed when he does backgrounds, when he does investigations. I'm sure they did search warrants into Emmanuel's pediatrician. But the reality is, common sense tells us he injured a 10-week-old baby a few years ago. Horrific injuries, which indicate that he squeezed the baby, he shook the baby, he probably hit the baby with something. I mean, those are really traumatic injuries.
Yeah, let's just remind our audience, broken ribs on that 10-week-old baby girl, a fractured skull on that 10-week-old baby girl, brain swelling, a fractured leg. Kim, it's almost unbelievable to consider what you'd have to do to that tiny infant for her to suffer injuries like that. She's permanently disabled.
That's exactly right. She's permanently disabled. So we can look at Jake Harrow's history of how he treats his children.
So this woman, who do you trust? She's the former Riverside County Assistant District Attorney. She knows the current district attorney very well. And she's the one that's been giving the interviews with Brian Enton and Ashley Banfield and now Elizabeth Vargas on News Nation, exclusively on News Nation, saying just now that the prior DA effed up the case, not the judge. That the prior DA didn't charge him with the right, like, didn't file the right paperwork, didn't charge him with the right paperwork. So it wasn't even the judge's fault. Like, I can't. I got to rewind it for the people that just came in.
Blaming the judge in the case, and you're saying actually it was the former DA's mistake?
Correct. If the former DA would have filed the charges correctly, that would have tied the judge's hands. He would have been unable to sentence Jake Harrow to probation. He would have had to have sentenced Jake Harrow to life with the possibility of parole. The judge would not have been able to sentence him to probation. The charges were simply pled improperly. They were too low.
So what about what Jake Harrow was saying? It's unbelievable he's giving interviews from jail. Is he admitting that his baby is dead now or not?
I mean, it seems to be that way. He's taken the police on this wild goose chase to an alleged crime scene. That in of itself would suggest that he's admitting the baby is gone. Making these statements now, I think, is further just incriminating him, and people can read between the lines that he is telling us that baby Emmanuel is gone.
Authorities say they have a good idea of where the baby's body is. They believe that he had suffered abuse throughout his 7-month-old life, which is horrific to even think about. What do you think makes them think that? Do they have evidence?
You know, Elizabeth, I'm sure they do. I'm sure Mike Hestron is very detailed when he does backgrounds, when he does investigations. I'm sure they did search warrants into Emmanuel's pediatrician. But the reality is, common sense tells.
So she knows this guy personally, and she's coming out and saying not him, but that he missed, not his fault, but he misspoke. It's not the judge's fault. It was the DA before him.
He injured a 10-week-old baby a few years ago. Horrific injuries, which indicate that he squeezed the baby, he shook the baby, he probably hit the baby with something. I mean, those are really traumatic injuries.
Yeah, let's just remind our audience, broken ribs on that 10-week-old baby girl, a fractured skull on that 10-week-old baby girl, brain swelling, a fractured leg. Kim, it's almost unbelievable to consider what you'd have to do to that tiny infant for her
No
to suffer
kidding.
injuries like that. She's permanently disabled.
That's exactly right. She's permanently disabled. So we can look at Jake Harrow's history of how he treats his children, and it's not a far leap to suggest that likely Emmanuel Harrow is being abused in the same manner because his life was ultimately taken.
Yeah, this is a terrible, terrible case. But obviously, we will continue to follow it as the authorities search not just for the baby's body, but for answers.
Yeah. So, anyways, I find that very interesting. I find that super interesting after all. Yeah, exactly. They sure are for people that really effed it up. They're sure putting the blame, aren't they? I know. I know. It's just I know. I know. It's just I don't know. Wait, there was no autopsy in this. There was no autopsy in this. I don't know what we're talking about, Krista. Jake's excuse is because the ER they kept taking Emmanuel 2 was out of the shots, but where I'm from, Kentucky, we don't go to the hospitals. We either go to the pediatrician. Well, this is it. It seems weird. Yeah, this is it. They seem. It is. It's weird. It's really weird. Hey, Pamela. Well, I mean, this would have gone on for months, and then not only that, let's not forget when they blamed it on the judge, they never filed an appeal. And if it was just the judge's fault, and then not only that, I was corrected that it was a year almost since Jake Harrow's broken his he's broken his conditions of his probation for a year, being caught with a gun and God knows what else, and he's been on loose for a year. No, they could have easily brought him into jail for that. So what the heck? They're talking bull crap. They're talking bull crap. And I am hospital. I don't know. Nice to see you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is it. So it's like crazy. I don't understand. I don't think the judge is innocent completely, but they definitely coming from the women that worked there. And she gives no reasons for me to not be proven to be credible. I mean, she sounds incredibly credible. So I just think it's just a bunch of hogwash that they are just trying to divert attention away and literally blame everybody else. Literally blame everybody else. Okay, now let's watch this because courtesy of hang on, I gotta pull it up first. I gotta pull it up first. Oh God. This is there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. So let's listen to this. So she dug up a little bit on the judge because yes, he does hold some culpability. But Slickback there, I think these Slickback's lying, and I don't like it. I don't like it, and so is the
Judge.
sheriff. With you all told me the sheriff has a bad background. Maybe we'll look him up in a minute. But I don't like them.
Dwight Moore, the one that gave a very lenient sentence to Jake Harrow, has given a statement about his thoughts on the matter. We actually talked about it earlier on the live if you missed it, but this is just a snippet of that. Now, I want to also say that there's some TikTokers and some people in the comments giving the wrong judge name. It's actually in the court transcripts. His name is Dwight Moore, and he's given a statement. Just want to make sure that everybody's got the accurate information. Let's go. This is the article. This is from the Long Beach Post. Baby Manuel, the alleged murder victim in a case where his parents, Jake and Rebecca, are defendants, would still be alive today if not for a judge's decision to grant Jake's probation in a different child abuse case 2 years ago. Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hesterson asserted on Wednesday. In 2023, Jake pleaded guilty to willful child cruelty in a case involving his 10-week-old daughter, Carolina Haro, which we know is actually Promise Faith. You know what was so irritating is that the DA didn't even know her name, like, okay, who suffered a fractured skull, damaged spine, multiple broken bones, and other injuries. As at a court hearing on June 8, 2023, okay, we have those transcripts. Superior Court Judge Dwight W. Moore suspended Jake Harrow's 6-year prison sentence and granted probation instead. And I quote, "I'm giving you a chance," said Judge Moore. "Don't mess it up. Good luck." So Judge Moore says to him, "I'm giving you a chance. Don't mess it up." And then just lets him go.
But again, she reported this. She reported this before News Nation's article. Okay, so again, hearing from this is hindsight, right? This is hindsight. Yes, the judge had a play in it, but so did the prior DA. And that's what I was saying. Y'all, it's your department. It's your justice system. You were supposed to work in tangent together. You cannot just blame the judge. So the judge has a role in it, but so did the prior DA. And so that part, I don't like the gaslighting and the deflection. I just don't love it.
Don't mess it up. I'm giving you a chance. That's what he said. Further goes. It appeared from his comment at the time that Moore thought the threat of prison for any probation violation would be a deterrent for any wrongdoing. We have hung a very large hammer over the defendant's head, he said, according to a transcript obtained by the Long Beach Post. It's probably the same transcript, y'all. The judge's decision was absolutely outrageous, Hestron said at a Wednesday press conference. Mr. Harrow should have been in prison if the judge had done his job as he should have done. Emmanuel would be alive today. Actually, and like I said, if it's not just this, but if he had been violated for this 2024 weapons charge, he would be alive today too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't have.
Yep, there you go. I'm going to move this forward because we don't need to hear another report. I'm just going to show you the judge here.
Wednesday, this is the judge, y'all. This is the judge. On Wednesday, Judge Moore told the Long Beach Post that ethical rules prevent him from explaining why he granted probation to Jake Harrow. "I'm absolutely precluded from commenting publicly about the case," said Judge Moore, who acknowledged that the controversy caught him by surprise. "In 18 years, this is the first time I've taken to task in this matter about a decision I've made."
Okay. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, honey. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you. So the judge acknowledges he's shocked to be in the controversy, can't speak about it in 18 years. This is the first time I've been taken to task in this manner about a decision I've made.
Judge Moore, who spent 26 years in the San Bernardino County DA's office before being appointed to the bench in 2007 by Governor Arnold Schwartz, can never say his last name correctly, retired from full-time service in 2021, but has continued to handle temporary judicial assignments. The fate of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro has drawn nationwide attention, says his mother, Rebecca Harrow, reported to police that he was missing. We know this, like even rereading this makes me upset because it's like we know the outcome of this. DA said that authorities have evidence that Emmanuel was killed in Riverside County. Okay. So thank you for the update on this. This is the judge. This is the right judge, not this judge that the TikToker, you know, loud and loud, y'all. This is not the judge. She's wrong. She's that.
This is Jorge Hernandez.
Look at this.
San Bernardino. It's also his fault. This is Jorge Hernandez.
Why is it his fault? Was he there? Did he have decision making? What happened? Why is it his fault? Let's make sure we're getting our stuff factually correct here, okay? That's the different judges. Y'all see that? This is the accurate judge right here. The correct judge is Dwight Moore, presiding judge, Honorable Dwight Moore. He was the visiting judge who sat there for this, I guess, the situation with the 10-week-old. It's in the transcripts of the court. It's not, he pronounces it in Spanish. It's not Jorge Hernandez. Okay, not and there was a lot of people that got it wrong too. People on TikTok, which is what we were just talking about. This lady right here said it was Jorge Hernandez. It wasn't. He can't really. He says I absolutely precluded from commenting publicly about. Why is he precluded? If the case is over, why is he? Is it because he doesn't want to get involved in anything else? He's absolutely precluded from publicly commenting on the case. Who acknowledged that the controversy caught him by surprise. In 18 years, this is the first time I've been taken to task in this manner about a decision I've made. Well, maybe people need to take these judges more to task and not just wait for tragedy to happen. How about that? How about we actually, and before tragedy actually happens, how about we take these mother effers to task?
Well, this is exactly the point. This is the point I'm making. This is exactly what we're trying to do here, is take them to task right now over their bullshit blaming just the judge. We just heard it from News Nation. It was also the prior DA. And that's why, even more so, we do not need to be closing our phones down like they've told us, shutting our mouth, not asking questions, closing our eyes, and just doing what we're told. No, that is the point. That is the point. You think you want to hide under the bushes and in the background and operate in ways that are not cool for the public's safety and the cause of children's lives, and they want us to trust us again. They want us to just be quiet and trust us again, or ask them rather to trust them. It's to be quiet and trust them and be quiet is just wild.
You know, because they are making life decisions and decisions about people's lives, and they do hold, even though they're sitting there in the big black robes, okay, they hold a lot of responsibility. Okay, so how about we take these people to task before it's too late? Okay, not just him, but anybody else, especially in juvenile courts. Okay, where we see a lot of CPS cases.
We're gonna find out. That's a great. Whoops. Hang on. Hang on. God, she just ended, and it took me to. That was not a planned. Sorry, that was not a planned event there. That one. So it's a good thing you asked, because we are going to show you. We're going to show you that. Whoops. Come on. Hold on. We're going to show you that. I got to get my banners up again. I got to just create a bunch and just leave them up. Let's watch. You're going to see what he's up to right now. Great question. Great timing. Great timing, you ask.
Breaking news, Rebecca Haro. She has a new attorney, and he is the former deputy district attorney of Riverside County. Whoa, come on in.
Yes, you heard it right. He is now Rebecca Harrow's attorney. The guy that filed the papers, was it deliberate? Was it not? Because y'all, he's not been appointed by the courts. He is in private practice now, and he's being paid to represent her. Now, what do you think about this guy? Are we even a little bit more concerned? Are we even a little bit more concerned? Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's watch.
Folks, let's talk about Rebecca Harrow, Jake Harrow, Emmanuel Harrow. Horrible case, Riverside County, California.
Listen,
7-month-old
watch.
Emmanuel, presumed
She
dead,
is.
still
Watch.
has not been found. Parents charged Rebecca and Jake with murder. This guy right here, Jeff Moore, is now representing Rebecca. But it gets even more crazy, folks, because this guy here represented a very high-profile case called the Turpins years ago of a couple who tortured 13 of their children inside their Riverside County home. Oh boy. And he worked previously in the district attorney's office, the same office that is now prosecuting Rebecca and Jake. Jake's attorney too. He has a new attorney too, who also represented that prior couple that were accused of torturing 13.
Okay, so he's the prior DA, the one that the News Nation interviewer, unless he's a different prior DA, but I don't know how many prior DAs they would have had. I don't even know what their length of term is, but it seems to me they can't have had more than one DA before the current slick back. And so if that's the prior DA and he's not, this happened to what, 2023, the plead? So in 2 years, surely we haven't had 3 DAs. We haven't had slip back, this guy, and a guy in between. You see what I'm saying? Because this plead was 2023. And we got slick back now. We've seen, we call him slick back because he had more oil in his hair than Diddy had in his house. And this guy, and in the last since 2023. So he's got to be the former DA, in my opinion. He's got to be the former DA. So he's the one that effed the paperwork up for Jake, and the judge allowed it or didn't overrule it or whatever, or it even made it worse. And now he's representing Rebecca Harrow, and the woman who also represented Jake is representing Jake. Okay, y'all? Yeah. I just don't have the money to pay for all these things, Krista. So that's why I don't do it that way.
Of their children ultimately pled guilty, got a long time in prison. Let me just share what I got here on this guy, this attorney here, plus the prior case he handled, and then share it all with you, and then we'll further discuss this matter. Check it out. Here is the public website of Blumenthal and Moore. This is Jeff G. Moore. This is the new attorney for Rebecca Harrow, backed by experience as deputy district attorney. Attorney Jeff Moore received a Bachelor of Science in Philosophical Sciences from UCLA before obtaining his law degree from the University of California. After passing the California State Bar, he spent 8 years as a deputy district attorney for Riverside County. During his tenure at the district attorney's office, Mr. Moore was assigned to various special vertical prosecution units, including grand theft, auto, welfare fraud, arson, special prosecutions, narcotics prosecution.
I was also emailed the same article that JLR is reading from Press Enterprises, but again, you have to access everything behind a paywall, and I just don't have the funds to keep going. All the court documents you have to pay for. So so this, I know, Deborah, I know, it's insane. So this feels really, I don't know. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
So, this is a former DA of Riverside County. Whoa. Some crazy stuff here, folks. Now he's in private practice. Now he's defending Rebecca. He previously helped defend a couple accused of torturing their kids. What's going on here, folks? Why did Rebecca choose this guy here? Or did this guy seek out Rebecca for publicity? What's going on here? So Rebecca Harrow's new attorney, Jeff Moore, also represented Louise Turpin here. This case here, her and her husband, this is a horrible case out of Riverside County years ago. The Turpins are sentenced to 25 years to life in prison after their children testify about years of torture. David and Louise Turpin have each been sentenced to 25 years to life in prison after they pleaded guilty to holding captive and torturing their children for years in their California home. And they had multiple children there. That it appears they had 13 children inside that home. Now, look at here. This is right here. This is the attorney. This is the attorney right here.
So do you remember this guy? I remember when this hit the news. Now that I see this man in the purple tie, you remember his haircut? I remember this story when it hit the news. You'd have to zoom in. But, you know, every criminal has the right to a defense. It's just, I don't know how you get the wrong paperwork submitted when you're supposed to be the one defending the child and the public and not the defendant. It's just seems kind of like you were playing the wrong side of the field, you know? You were aiming your goal at the wrong net, you know? It seems like maybe something else was going on. I don't know. It is concerning. It's very concerning until proven otherwise.
You can see the attorney on right here. That
See
is
that?
Moore representing Miss Turpin. And then this over here is the
See the guy in the purple tie, y'all? Do you guys recognize this guy? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, this is a good question, Marie Curie. Good. Who's paying? I thought they were on disability. Who's paying? Jake's mom and stepdad? Yeah. Anyways, I remember this guy in this purple tie. I guess I might be the only one, but yeah, I remember when the story aired. They had 13 kids or something, and they also didn't. Well, I think they got 25 years.
The other
I don't
attorney,
know.
let me show you over here. That represented the husband. Well, that attorney there represents Jake Harrow. So the attorneys on this case are now representing the Harrows. This right.
So they used to be part of the DA's office, both the lawyers, and they represented together this couple, and now they're separately representing Jake and Rebecca. Well, it could be pro bono because they expect this is going to get a lot of media attention. It could be. We don't know. We don't know.
Here, Jeff Moore. Her name is attorney Paulette Garthwaite. She is defending now Jake Harrow. So these people here, though, got 25 to life for what they did. It's a crazy case. I'm not going to read through it all, but it's just so egregious and so bad. But the Harrows now have hired these two attorneys more.
This was back in 2019. The Turpins are sentenced to 25 years to life in prison after their children testify about years of torture. But as JLR is about to say, they pled guilty. Should they not have never seen the light of day? 25 years with the possibility of parole is not life. So 25 years to life is not saying life.
Garthwaite to defend them in the current case of Emmanuel. Wild stuff, folks. Let me know what you think.
There's Rebecca's attorney.
Oh, I have a lot to say here. One, this attorney doesn't seem like he's that good, considering the other couple, the Turpins, got 25 years to life for torturing their kids. Why did Rebecca hire him? Or did he seek out Rebecca? And the other attorney.
Well, I don't know. 25 years to life, maybe he is good because couldn't they have gotten life? I don't know the law. But when you're torturing kids, 13 of them, and they all testify against you, or some of them do, you'd think you'd never see the light of day, but maybe the law doesn't. I don't know. Maybe the law doesn't allow for that. But they got 25 years to life, but why wouldn't they just get life? I don't understand the law enough to say. So I don't know. I can't say whether I agree with JLR or not. I don't know if this attorney is good or not. What do you think?
That also handled that case, the Turpin, that was defending the husband, is now representing Jake. What the heck is happening here, folks? Why did those attorneys jump on board? As we said previously, it's literally impossible for an attorney to represent both Jake and
Yep.
Rebecca. So there was a previous, public defender named Cosgrove, and he can't represent both. And Rebecca was saying at the time in the jailhouse interview, she got private counsel. Well, it looks like it's this guy right here. But what I find interesting is this guy here and the other attorney who represent the Turpins are now both on board, and one is representing Rebecca and the other one is representing Jake. Seems like might be some sort of unified front here. But here's the thing, folks. Could this guy here, because of his ties with the Riverside County District Attorney's Office, get her a sweetheart deal similar to the Turpins? Turpins should have got life, period. No 25 years of life, like life, period, without the possibility of parole. What they did. Is that going to be kind of like the scenario where we got with Jake and Rebecca? Ultimately, down the line, he will work his lawyer magic, maybe his connections with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and the District Attorney's Office, and get these people, Rebecca and Jake, a 25-year life sentence. That is a long time, but hey, it gives them the opportunity one day to make parole. I feel that is possibly happening with this scenario, considering also Riverside County, which seems like has a track record of letting violent criminals off pretty easily, or sweet deals for the defendant, considering, people that have done some really bad things don't get much jail time, prison time. In this case with Emmanuel.
Well, and we read the other day, Unified Front, like, yes, it does. It seems like they are not going to turn on each other. It seems like when Jake was taken out to the field, Rebecca did her interview simultaneously, and then he did his interview, and then she got the message, we're going to stick together. And somehow they've both got these attorneys working together. Thank you for doing the thumbs up, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, whew, I don't know. It's interesting. It's, they're gonna stick together with their story. And we know that the DA's office was contemplating not even filing charges. We know their case is probably quite weak. At least that's the impression we get from the news, that mainstream news media that reported that outside the courthouse the day we were waiting in bated breath to see if they were going to actually press charges. We now see, the DA slick back and that cop just really emotionally charged gaslighting, and now we just see News Nation saying the prior DA didn't fill the right paperwork out, which was the guy that's now representing Rebecca Harrow in this picture now. Wow. And it's not appointed attorneys. They are privately paid for attorneys, and defense attorneys aren't cheap. So yeah, how are they paying? Where's the money coming from? I don't know, man.
100% life without the possibility of parole, but will it turn into a situation where?
Well, here's one thing you can be sure. You can be sure of. Well, if you could be sure that if they are doing this for publicity, well, they're going to be out in the public making a lot of statements.
Rebecca and Jake end up getting 25 to life. Though people will be happy with that, but that gives them a chance to get out one day. She's in her early 40s. That gives her a chance to get out one day. And we don't want these monsters out on the street. Do you think Rebecca and Jake ever deserve even a chance to get a number? Riverside's giving them $1 million bond. Who is this guy, and why did this guy choose to represent her? He's a private attorney. It wasn't like they were appointed. Public defenders had no choice. But it's crazy that you get some of these paid lawyers, or lawyers, maybe he just wants to take the case for, exposure on himself. Because I don't know how Rebecca has the money to retain this guy, considering this is a murder case. I mean, that has to be $100,000 plus, unless somebody on Rebecca's side, like her grandmother, mom, Mary, and that side of the family put up some money. But I doubt it. She hasn't raised no money. No one's going to support Rebecca or Jake. How are they getting these attorneys? Either they're taking the case pro bono, or they're being paid. But the thing about it is, why would these attorneys even want to take the case? Of all the cases, private attorneys, people call them all the time. We represent. They choose who they want to represent. They can decline anyone, but they are taking this case on. It's very interesting. JLR Investigates. Let me know what you think about the information.
What do y'all think's going on? Tell me your thoughts. What do y'all think's going on? What do y'all think's going on? Welcome in, Snowfeather. Oh, I know. I know. Oh, I know. This is the problem. This is why I'm saying, we absolutely should not be taking eyes off them. Absolutely. Hestrom was the district attorney appointed in 2014 for Riverside. Thank you, Tamara. So yeah, so he was the dude. Oh my God, it's crazy. It's supposed to be about getting justice for an innocent victim and a little. I know, Marie Curie, and yes, thank you. Note to self. You're very welcome. Thank you. Welcome in. I know it's very fishy, and the other thing is, I haven't heard of anybody reporting on seeing them actually out there scouring for his body. I'm hoping they're looking for him because if he is in the landfill, that's going to be um, that's going to be a long, long search. That's going to be a long search. Okay, let's watch this. I want to watch this because this was in direct. Whoops. This was in direct. Hang on, hang on, hang on. I love when your laptop doesn't coordinate. Hang on, I lost you. The screen is black. Hang on. Wow. I don't know if I'm still on camera. I'm truly. Oh, where am I? There I am. Am I still on camera? Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, that was a friggin' interesting event. Gotta love StreamYard. It's got its own mind, truly and truly. Well, this is it. Now we're all talking about this shit instead of the case, it just seems like it might have been deliberate. I don't know. They don't want I don't know. But then the other thing about it is, did they not realize that we would find out? Like, did they not realize that we would search and figure this out? Like, I don't know. The community would get beyond to them. Okay, listen to this.
Horror. That baby boy's body has still not been recovered. And we have new court documents that unveil when law enforcement appears to believe that Emmanuel Harrow was killed. Rebecca and Jake Harrow, the parents, first allegedly made up a story that went viral, that Rebecca was attacked in the parking lot of a strip mall and young Emmanuel was taken. They made their plea for help on television, but detectives say it was all a lie. And while Jake was seen with detectives who are searching for his son's remains, Rebecca is sticking to her story. How did the story that she told on TV compare to what you?
I don't know, Krista. YouTube does it. I have no idea. Hello, Katie. Nice to see you. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. And that would, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, exactly. And imagine what's going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about. Yeah, exactly, Deborah. Exactly. Listen to this.
You heard in jail.
It was the same. She said she was attacked by a kidnapper.
I spoke with the reporter who interviewed Rebecca Harrow in jail. What stood out to him is she appears to be standing her ground, saying she is the victim of an assault and that her boy was kidnapped, as the biggest question still remains unanswered, and that is, where is Emmanuel Harrow? We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. When Rebecca and Jake Harrow first appeared on television, in the hours after they claimed that Rebecca, the mom, was attacked, and young Emmanuel, just 7 months old, they say, was kidnapped in the parking lot of a strip mall in Yucaipa, California, they appeared as a united front. It's likely, though, they haven't had much contact since their arrest on Friday last week. They're being held at separate facilities in Riverside County, California. This video just in from News Nation. Jake and Rebecca Harrow made their first court appearances today in Riverside County, California. They were both in jail jumpsuits. They didn't say anything during the brief court
Thanks,
appearance.
Krista.
Bond for the two is now set at $1 million each. They're next expected in court on September 4th, which is Thursday next week. Today, the Riverside County District Attorney officially filed charges against the Harrows. We have the criminal complaint which charges Jake and Rebecca with murder and a felony count of filing a false report. In the documents under the murder count, it says that the Harrows killed the child, who's only identified as Baby Doe, sometime on or between August 5th and August 14th. Now, the 14th was when Rebecca claimed she was assaulted and Emmanuel was taken from that strip mall parking lot in Yucaipa, California. This is the first time, though, that we have seen law enforcement identify that date of August 5th. This document also has a paragraph talking about how this is a case of alleged domestic violence and previous acts of domestic violence could be used as evidence against the Harrows. Both were arrested on Friday last week. A SWAT team took them into custody from their home. When this story first started, the couple allegedly tried to point the attention away from them, claiming that 7-month-old Emmanuel was kidnapped after Rebecca was punched in the face and assaulted, blacking out in a parking lot in Yucaipa, California. Here's what both of them told KABC TV.
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
Got him out of the car seat and I laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, hold on, that's all I remember.
The TV station did note that they did not see tears in Rebecca's eyes. Law enforcement said that the story just didn't add up. They couldn't rule out foul play. But then days later, the two were arrested, and this case went from being a missing persons case to a search for remains in a murder investigation. On Sunday, there was a major development. This is a picture of Jake standing in.
Agreed. I mean, it's a big bond, but I thought you only had to pay 10%. So yes, hopefully they don't have the money for that. I agree.
An area off a highway about 22 miles away from his home. He's in a jail jumpsuit. He's standing with detectives. And that really is all we know, or all law enforcement have confirmed. They haven't said why they went to that area, and they haven't said anything about what Jake may have told them since being in custody. But shockingly, on the same day, Rebecca spoke to a reporter named Brian Rocco, a Southern California news group. And Rebecca, from jail, is sticking to her story, saying that she is the victim of an assault and that her young boy was kidnapped, and she wants him to be found and for people to be out searching for him, even if law enforcement and seemingly the rest of the world say that's a lie. Joining us now is Brian Rocos, reporter with the Southern California News Group. You can read his work on pressenterprise.com, including his interview with Rebecca Harrow. Brian, thank you for taking the time to be with us. First off, just how did it come about to get in touch with Rebecca Harrow from jail?
Well, it's actually a very easy process in Riverside County. Anybody can request a visit with an inmate.
So why are they letting them make public statements? I guess that's their right to make statements, but do y'all ever wonder, is this the guy that they sent in? They said that when they're doing the Perkins operation, they can send somebody in that's not a cop. And he's the only guy we know of that's both interviewed Jake and Rebecca. It's just a thought. I mean, I really doubt it, but it was just a thought. Maybe he was their Perkins operation. I don't know.
What you have to do is call up the jail and provide a booking number and provide.
Has everybody seen this in the chat? Slipback was the DA appointed as DA. Oh, Slickback. So who was the other guy? You know what? It's a great thought because I was thinking of reaching out to a lawyer, but to see if they would come on and talk to us about this. Yeah, it does, Kitty. They've got the same kind of vibe, don't they? They got the same kind of vibe.
Your driver's license for them to run a background check on you, and as long as you're not wanted for a crime, you're in. They don't ask if you're a friend or an attorney or a newspaper reporter or anything. The key is actually getting the inmate to talk to you.
Were you surprised when she agreed to do the interview?
No, not really. People have a story to tell, and a lot of times they want to get that story told. And I told her that I was sorry she was in this mess. I mean, no one wants to be in jail on suspicion of murder. And I said I wanted to make sure that her side of the story got told to the public. And I asked her if I could ask her some questions and put her answers in the newspaper.
Yeah, we've seen from the day of Emmanuel's disappearance, or
okay, did you hear that? to me, I'm not so sure. Maybe he is the Perkins guy, because he said he asked if he could ask some questions of her and put it in the newspaper. Well, wouldn't she know that you were coming to talk to her from the newspaper if she wanted to do a interview? Like, if she wanted to do an interview, wouldn't she reach out to you? That's just a really interesting way of putting it. He's saying, I asked her if I could ask her a few questions and then put it in the newspaper. I'm just curious. I'm wondering if he's the Perkins guy.
Of Emmanuel's disappearance, or at least when we learned of this story coming to light, and she's, I don't know if she was crying with tears coming down her face, but like we've seen the clip on the local television there. How did the story that she told on TV compare to what you heard in jail?
It was the same. She said she was attacked by a kidnapper. I didn't get into a lot of detail, because once she said it was a kidnapping, I didn't need to get into the whole account, and you're not allowed to bring in anything to write on and record in jail to begin with, and so tried to keep things simple, and there's only so many things I'm able to remember. But she, stuck to her guns. I gave her every opportunity to say, well, Jake was behind it, or, I'm a victim of domestic violence. Gave her ample opportunity to change her story. And I've received a confession before from someone who admitted to shooting 2 teens in a movie theater. I've also been lied to before. So you never know what you're going to get in these. And she appeared to cry in the interview with me, but again, the tears weren't really flowing. We've all seen the interview that she did with the media shortly after the disappearance, and that was a very controlled crying, I guess I would call it.
One of the big tools that we've been using in covering this case out of California has been Truth Finder, kind of way that she talked on the news. Was it kind of a similar, I guess, type of emotion when she was in jail?
No, she was very subdued. She kind of had her head down most of the time. Sort of looking at me, but sort of having her head down. She was very controlled. But when I asked her about, what did she hope would happen, then that's when she kind of lost it a little bit, saying, I want to find my baby. I won't give up on my baby.
So she lost it when he asked her what happened. That's interesting.
So that's when she was most emotional, but she was not hysterical or defiant.
When I saw your story for the first time, it was around the time that Jake Harrow was out. It appeared with detectives in that field off of the highway. What type of communication do we know that she's had with her husband since they've been arrested?
Well, if the sheriff's department is doing their job, it's absolutely none. You cannot have 2 suspects in a murder case or a suspicious disappearance case talking with each other. I would be.
Well, now they probably are talking to each other indirectly with their attorneys, being the 2 attorneys that defended Jake before. They clearly know each other. Oh, interesting. Well, that doesn't mean they're talking, but it certainly feels like they're going to put up a united defense and not turn against each other. That's what it's feeling more like now.
Very surprised if they've had any communication since their arrest. It's possible that they've had indirect communication, but I very much doubt that Rebecca knew that Jake was out on that roadside while the sheriff's department looked for Emmanuel.
It also dawned on me, the sheriff could have taken Jake out to the roadside and then used that image of him at the roadside to show Rebecca, see, he's turning on you. What do you think? And maybe that whole thing was staged. We really don't know. We really don't know. But he says he doesn't think Rebecca knew that Jake was out there, and that means he must have been interviewing her fairly close to that time or right after.
Because I know Jake has an attorney. and he did a few interviews. Is she still at this point? She doesn't have any representation?
She told me she had an interview. She didn't want to give me the attorney's name. She said she wanted to ask some questions to the attorney before saying who it was. I would imagine they would have separate attorneys. That's kind of usually what happens when you have two people like this. You might remember the Turpin case with the 13 children who had been abused and neglected, and they had separate attorneys.
It's interesting you bring up kind of giving her the opportunity where, maybe was she the victim of domestic abuse in this house?
Okay, so they
was
were
Jake behind, this alleged murder now that they say?
So they were separate attorneys, although they knew each other. So that's interesting, though, that they would both be hired.
Of Emmanuel that I know that she's denying. I mean, what do we know about how their marriage was? Did she say just what she feels about Jake?
When I asked her, what is your relationship like? I mean, she came out right away and said it's a wonderful relationship. No hesitation. Looked right at me. Repeated a couple times that he's a really good dad. Repeated that he would not hurt a baby. Although that's kind of a problematic statement because he has a conviction for willful child cruelty. According to Jake, his statement to authorities at the time was that he was bathing a child and accidentally dropped her on the divider.
Okay, so this is a little off topic, but oh wow, note to self. What do you think about this case? What do you think about this case? And what do you think about the sheriff that people locally who have been in the chat don't like? Also, oh, sweetie. Yeah. I don't know what that sheriff's reputation's like. Some people locally have said not so great. So curious to hear what you have to say on that. And I'm also curious, yeah, so if they are, like you said, Sharon, that you think they're gonna stick to their story, or are they gonna turn on each other? I mean, interesting, I would have thought they would be smarter to turn on each other. But who knows? Who knows? Well, here's the interesting thing, okay? The district attorney's office said, oh, by the way, I'm thinking of doing something, separating this channel out from the tarot readings because some people come in here and don't want to watch tarot, and some people just like the tarot. So I'm just letting you know, I'm just debating that. But it wouldn't be right away. I'd create an MMO channel and then I could stream to both at the same time and build the MMO up first. So separate of tarot. So anyways, probably her standards are really low. No kidding. But here's what I want to ask you. We have looked at that yellow letter and I wanted to look at it again today. This is, we're going to look at it again today. Because somebody pointed out, and I looked at it the other day, and I can't help but think that that's from her. So if that letter was from her, thank you, note to self. Yeah, so okay, so tell me, but not everybody does, right? So I've had some people a little bit confused, and so I'm just debating making it two separate channels. And then the tarot, I could cover way more cases. So yeah. Thank you, Lola. Thank you, honey. Anyways, so going back to my point, the thing is that letter that Lola you sent me with the video, if that is what I thought it was, I really, really, and Jen said the same thing. It seems like a deliberate drop where she knows she's being televised, which is asking for help and maybe sharing the location of the baby. Then why would she be coming out in the interview being so emphatic that he is the great dad. Was the interview a ploy, or is the letter like, I just don't understand, right? Like I'm confused. Did we get that letter wrong? Was that letter not Rebecca Harrow? I mean, she's wearing the same t-shirt. You can see her dropping it. I don't know. It's just curious that that letter seems to me like a plea, and yet she's sticking by. Is she going to smooth one over on Jake? Is she going to outsmart him and pretend publicly that she's going to defend him till the end and then throw under the bus? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, really, Lola? Really? It looks yellow. It looks yellow in the picture. It looks yellow. I don't know. Well, we'll look at it again because I hope we haven't been misinformed. It'll be a lesson for yours truly, for me, if we're wrong, just to be careful.
In a sink, but those were not injuries that would have, or that's not an event that would have caused the injuries that little child.
And nonetheless, if she threw keys in the grass, what the heck is that about, right? Like, that's bizarre.
Was found to have. So, and Jake at the time blamed his current wife. So, yeah, unless she's a great actress, Rebecca believes that they have a very good relationship.
Wild.
It's hard to read body language, and I know this is kind of putting you on the spot in some ways, but like, was there any part of her that seemed like credible? That, you know, in terms of the story that she's telling, because on the outside, it seems that everybody, I mean, even the sheriff's office says it's just not true.
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone and another reporter, and he had actually had a conversation with a detective, and the detective asked this reporter, when you interviewed Rebecca right after the disappearance, and she was crying, was snot coming out of her nose? And the reporter's answer was no. And the detective said, well, in my experience, if a mom's child is missing and she's talking about it, snot is coming out of her nose. So
thank you.
I guess that's body
Thanks,
language
Lola.
for you. She, she's never seemed hysterical.
Yeah. What does she say? Because, you know, not only law enforcement, but I mean, this is a story that's national news now. And it seems like there is no one really, at least, you know, if you take a poll from social media and, you know, again, law enforcement, that no one believes that this was an abduction in the way that she says it went down. What does she say to that, where it doesn't seem that anybody is believing what she has to say?
She didn't really address that. It's Yeah, I mean, if you take a poll of the public in general, uh, yeah, nobody believes her. Whether that's fair or not, I don't know. When I'm talking to people about the case, the first thing they say to me is, you know, how come she wasn't hysterical when she was talking to the media? But people react to things differently. Um, it's it's just hard to reconcile. I don't know how long if she was knocked out, I don't know how long she was unconscious, but whether it's for, you know, a minute or 5 minutes or half an hour, it's hard to reconcile a woman being knocked out in a parking lot of a big shopping center and nobody notices it. And now we keep hearing, and again, these are things that we don't know are true or not. You know, extended family members had not seen Emmanuel for a long time. And so it's just it's hard to look at things and you know, fall in line with her account of what happened. I mean, where's the ransom note? Uh, and it's a guy supposedly who stole the baby. I've covered stories where people have stolen babies. They've gone into hospitals and tried to snatch babies out of the maternity wards, and it's always a woman feels like she needs to have a baby. And now this story is supposedly it's a guy. It's just one of those little things that makes you wonder.
That's a very interesting point, right? Very interesting
I know
point.
you've been doing some reporting as well on the search that's been going on, or perhaps lack thereof, just as law enforcement have, they believe that this is a murder case that they've
I
been following.
know.
Do we know
Well,
why Jake was out
I
with
mean,
detectives?
could she be like seriously delusional? Like, could her mental state really be at risk? Like, I don't know, right? Could her mental state really be at risk? I don't know. She just seems kind of delusional. Yeah, exactly, Sharon. Delusional. Like, I don't know. I don't know if this is her mental state.
On the side of the highway the other day?
No, we don't. And people have made have connected the dots. They've drawn conclusions that, oh, Jake confessed and he led the detectives out to this brushy roadside. But the sheriff's department has not said whether that's the case. It's also possible that that the detectives, let's say, pinged his phone, triangulated the cell phone signals, and found that maybe he was out at that location in the middle of the night for an hour at some point. That's just speculation by me, but it's to me it's also equally plausible that they've done that type of thing, and then just said, Jake, we're going out to the Badlands in Moreno Valley, and we want you to be out there while we look for Emmanuel. The sheriff's department went to great lengths yesterday, in fact, to say that all they were doing was saying that he was present. They weren't saying why. And I asked them, and the spokeswoman didn't have an answer. She said she didn't know. So obviously, detectives who do know didn't tell her.
Just talking about Jake and just thinking back to his 2018 arrest, and then in 2023 he's on probation currently related to that incident with the girl who was just 10 weeks old. And I know on the outside there's been some criticism of the deal that he was able to get. Do we know why? What went on in that case? Because also it happened in 2018, and then it seemed like the case wasn't closed until 2023, which, I mean, for 5 years, it seems like that's a long time for that to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why it took.
It sure is a long time for that to go on. Let's hope we aren't waiting for 5 years to see justice for baby Emmanuel. Let's hope that's not the case here.
So long. I can tell you that was a plea to the judge and not done in consultation with the district attorney's office, as plea deals usually are. So the DA hasn't given us any information on the interaction between Jake and the judge. Very interesting background. We haven't published yet, but we probably will when the charges are filed. And this may or may not have anything to do with anything, but Jake and his first wife filed for bankruptcy during their time together. They had like $9,000 and they owed $107,000, and a lot of that was the first wife's student loans. I found a document that listed all the debts, and among them was like about $175 for baby pictures. So if they couldn't or
So he has a history of liking to take baby pictures, but they had none for little baby Emmanuel. Wild case, man. This is a wild case. We're almost done with
wouldn't
this
pay
interview.
that. There were a lot of collection agencies after them. Also, and there's a lot of misinformation out there from bloggers and vloggers and just anybody with a camera who's appointed themselves to cover the case. But sometimes they get some things right. And one of them was that Jake has quite a number of
No worries, Marie. No
workers'
worries.
comp claims that he put out. He had like 6 within about a 6 or 7 year span. He worked at Walmart and a few other places, and it wasn't just Jake.
So it seems like it's probably Jake's mom and stepdad, not them paying for the attorneys.
We're probably
I
about
don't
4
know.
other family members who have had workers' comp claims, and almost all the time it's from working at a Walmart or Home Depot or Amazon. And
It's a
you know,
family
just
habit. It's a family habit.
I had asked Rebecca what Jake's profession was, and she said, "What's a profession?" I thought that was odd, and I
Wow, that's curious. Is that her way of
said, "Well,
avoiding
what does he
saying
do
he
for
doesn't
money?"
work? He doesn't
And
work?
she didn't really have an answer.
And
So
that's
Does she have
just
a job
no answer for what he does for money. Wow.
or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't know.
See this
She did
t-shirt?
have one.
See this t-shirt? That's the color of the t-shirt she's wearing when she throws whatever she throws in the bushes. So she throws something in the bushes, but since we're not sure now if it's paper or keys, I'm not going to continue to spread the misinformation. Hello, if you're coming in late, welcome in, Anasty, welcome in. Yeah, so we will not continue to cover that if that's the case. And my apologies if that is not paper and it's actually, I still don't understand what that video was about. I still don't understand what that video is about.
On workers' comp claim.
Hmm.
She even Jake's deceased brother, while he was alive, had at least one workers' comp claim. His stepfather had a workers' comp claim. Just I've asked the state whether that's unusual for one person to have 6 workers' comp claims in a several year period. I don't know what Jake did at Walmart or Amazon. I guess it's possible if you're working in the warehouse, things can happen. It just seems strange.
And just lastly, Brian, I mean, you've covered a lot of big time stories in Riverside County. You were talking about the Turpin case. This one, I mean, it seems that there's been so many twists and turns from when it first started to where we are today. And as it's still developing.
Exactly.
I mean,
I don't know.
what has it been like to cover this story in Riverside County over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I was supposed to be off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that didn't quite happen. For one thing, it's not like I worked all day and night, but I worked a few hours Friday and Saturday, and then all day Sunday. And it's been exhausting because anybody with a camera has been, quote, covering this case, and
Here we go. Who do you think the police really like? Really like? They really like him because he's going to pitch the same narrative now. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm wondering if Make a Wish, what's that about? Hey, Kaka, nice to see you. We've been on an hour and 45 minutes, 59. I don't know how many more I'm going to go. We're going to see. We're going to see. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like. Yeah, this is the craziest case. Wild.
and you know that ranges from the professional news media to freelancers who are legitimate to just a guy down the street with a camera and a website. And there's been a lot of things that I've had to check out to see whether they're true or not. Someone said that someone broke into the Harrow's home and was selling tours of the place. Check with the sheriff's department. That turned out not to be true.
It was true, dude.
Someone posted a
See, this guy is speaking for the police or the narrative. It took, yes, exactly, Maureen. Exactly. This is why I said to you, do you think he is the Perkins guy? He's the only guy we know of that's been interviewing both of them. He said it in his own words. He asked Rebecca if he could ask her a few questions and then report on it. Well, wouldn't she already know if she invited a reporter to speak? So who sent the fucking reporter? And now he's pitching the same dirty narrative. He looks like he hasn't evolved out of the 50s, no offense, but true. And so, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And he will be the one that the police go to get the news out. This is the mainstream media. This is how they like to operate, and this is how the old school law enforcement justice quote system works, is we feed what we want to feed to who we want to feed it. But this guy, yeah, he's really kind of shading Brian Enton here too, which I don't really like at all.
video
At
claiming
all.
that authorities had dug up Emmanuel's head. Jake's brother died 5 years ago, and people have all but convicted the Harrows of that. But the fact was that he had died from an accidental overdose of fentanyl, ethanol, and cocaine. And that's, again, according to the sheriff's department, not I heard. Someone put out a fake news release. It was not on any kind of official stationery or anything, but it was an image on Facebook claiming to be from the sheriff's department, and it said that the sheriff's department had gotten video and copies of receipts from a Home Depot, and supposedly Jake and Rebecca had purchased lye, ropes, and a bucket. And it's scary because the people reading that take it at face value. They take it to be true. Very few people, it seems.
Was that not on Latira who reported that? Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Well, it could be, Lola, that some people have left because people come and go through the stream. But yes, everybody, please hit the like. I'd appreciate it.
Check into these things. Do they go looking for, that information being published elsewhere? And people just assume things. A state recreation area put out a news release yesterday saying, no one searched for Emmanuel here. Yes, we are open. It's just it's just crazy. But that's the era we're in, where something that's sensational, really on the face of it, gets even more sensational because people dive into it and they want a piece of it.
Yeah, and it's exhausting. I mean, you're the one on the ground there, and it's just to even like you open Facebook and it's just one kind of person after another, and some seem legit, some don't, with their theories and then speculation. Yeah, it sounds exhausting, especially on your end, being the journalist who is actually hunting stuff down. One more actually before you go. I remember Rebecca in her interview said, like, why aren't
Again, Law and Order, I'm just losing respect for them. I really am. Law and Order, life, not as much as court TV, because they are turning, as they get bigger, they're becoming more mainstream. It seems to me like you're the one actually out there, to the journalist researching. Well, do we have to trust him just because he's got 25 years experience and his boots on the ground? What makes him more trustworthy than on Latira?
people, something along the lines of like, why aren't people out there searching for him? Or I wish the sheriff's office was out searching for him. I remember before they were arrested, Jake's attorney said, why isn't the sheriff's office out searching? What have they said about that, as far as why we're not seeing, a search team out there in the way that you would for a missing persons case?
Well, I mean, the odds of a 7-month-old baby, being at a street corner or behind a bush, there's only so many places the baby could be. And at some point, I think you have to realize that if he was kidnapped, then he's probably in the custody of whoever took him, and would not likely be in the vicinity. And once you search as far as there's certainly the possibility that a kidnapper took the baby and then thought better of it and dumped them someplace. But at some point, you run out of spots to reasonably search.
Well, Brian Rokos with Southern California News Group, a reporter there doing some fantastic work covering
Well, y'all, this is a crazy case. I know. We don't really know what's going on. We're only trying to piece it together because that's what we do in the true crime community. Whether or not the police like it or not is really irrelevant. This is kind of what we do. And I think we have just as important, we play our role that's just as important. Let me say it that way. And we play a role that's just as important. So, I think putting the pressure on is kind of the sign of the times. It's kind of like where it's at. It's like it's really important to put pressure on these people because the justice system isn't what it used to be, because it deserves attention, because it deserves us to fight and make sure that he gets the justice he deserves. No, they don't like it. They don't like it at all. They don't like it at all. I had another 2 videos planned, but I'm not sure if y'all want to stay on that much longer because it's taking us a lot longer. I've got 43 minutes or an hour and 20. So what I think I might do is actually just put those into another stream for baby Emmanuel. And what do y'all think? Do you want to look, Lola, did you send me that email? Can I pull that up and we can look at that before we go? Here you go. Yes. Hang on. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this off because I can't. We're having the same problem I had before. I can't open it. So everybody, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a night because it's Saturday night. I am doing a members live tomorrow, and I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow. But I think we're going to call it a night. I'm going to try to do some readings. Anyways, just do all the YouTube things so you know what's going on for tomorrow. I will absolutely be live tomorrow. I will be doing a members live and maybe a couple of readings. Okay. I just don't know what case we're going to cover yet. I'm going to play it by ear and see what comes up overnight and how I feel. So I want to thank you all for being here and being with me, but Ryder's whining as well. And so I'm going to go deal with Ryder and take him out to the bathroom. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and have a wonderful night. Okay, do all the YouTube things. Love and light. Cheers.